Hello, welcome to another episode of the Best Friends Discuss podcast. I'm your host, Mike, with my co-host,
Brad.
And we are going to do our second official episode of the BFU, as we're calling it, the Best Friends Universe. That's right. That's what we're calling it. This is going to be the second episode, and we're still workshopping some of the other superheroes, so we're going to sidetrack a little bit and talk about another superhero. And
We did come up with some good ideas though.
Yes.
So we're going to flesh out a few more of the ideas, but we came up with some solutions to some of the issues that we had in the first place.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about. And, you know, that's one of the things I like to do is talk to you through this and just kind of shoot the shit, go back and forth, figure out what we can come up with.
Yep.
That's what I like. So I told Brad that because, Brad, you're a huge mutant fan,
Yeah.
right? And
X-Men was the number one thing I got into with comics.
yeah. And so I told him I wanted to bring to the BFU, the Best Friends Universe, a X-Men like team. But I also didn't want to call them mutants or miracles or whatever. So I came up with a concept. And I love the concept. You love the concept. We love the concept. We here at the Best Friends love the concept.
Everyone loves the concept.
Yep. So get with the program or get out of our way. Am I right? You good?
Rona.
Stop it.
Sorry, it just has to be said now every time you cough.
No.
It's the new rules.
I don't like that.
It's the new rules.
Anyway, so the concept I came up with, and I told Brad ahead of recording this so he can kind of come up with some ideas, is I call them Darwins. And the concept is Darwinism, survival of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens up a lot of opportunity for us to come up with backstories and to come up with powers of those individual people to make a greater universe, kind of like how mutants do it with, they have a gene in their, DNA that
Yeah, the
changes
general
them.
thought process with most mutants is it's just there's a mutated genome within their DNA, and for the most part, some differ, but for the most part, about the time puberty sets in is when you start to see most of those powers manifest.
Yeah.
And so it's just the change of the body, everything else, that's when the genome starts to take over. So ours is a little bit different, and it's more based off of like necessity at the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a little bit more chaotic than it would otherwise be, but general premise is, you crash the car, your kid's inside, and that you always hear the story of the mom that is able to lift the car up. That type of a situation.
Yep.
Now we have switched it up a bit. Do we want to go into more the secondary thought on it? The chaos cell and that?
Yeah, go for it.
So the main thought is we don't want that just to be the only catalyst, because you're going to get a lot more cliche type of just superheroes if that's the only way that they come about.
Yeah.
So the thought process is that's the general thought from the public of how they get it, which is why they're going to start being called like the Darwins or whatever else instead of mutants, because it seems like 90% of these get it from a necessity at that point. But you'll have other instances where adrenaline just kind of kicks in, and you're on your first date and you get a little too excited, and then whoop, powers manifest for some odd reason.
Boner. Oh.
And so I mean, some people would say that's a power.
Yeah.
Some would say.
Some need a little blue pill to help.
So the more technical process that we were thinking of is more almost like cancer, where everybody has cancer cells within their body. It just depends on what's actually going to activate it, whether it's like carcinogens, like from smoking or whatever else. But there's sometimes they just randomly manifest and you don't really know why. And that's kind of our thought process with this, is there's actually a gene, and adrenaline is that catalyst that activates these chaos cells within the body.
Yeah. And so the chaos cells, like he said, it could range from you need the abilities to manifest right away, like car accident, car is in midair flipping.
Yeah.
You need your abilities to activate. And when I say abilities to activate, they activate for the first time, and when they are activated for the first time, they stay activated.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's not like any time you're in a dire situation.
Well, except for one of yours, but
Well, yeah, that's
but
a whole
in
other
general,
thing.
yeah, it's just when they manifest
But
at the time.
But yeah, so like drive-by shooting, car accident, lifting the car off of your kid. How did the kid get underneath there?
Maybe you're in
Who
a
knows?
war and you're being shot at.
Yeah, a war, or it could be something simple as math tests. Kissing your first girl, that kind of thing.
Anything that can technically spike the adrenaline would be able to be a catalyst.
Yeah.
But in general, I would say the bigger the shot of adrenaline, the more likely you're going to be able to manifest those if you have this gene, which is why accident or wartime would probably see more manifestations than a math test.
You know what I just thought of?
Huh.
Is people shooting up adrenaline to see if they can make their powers activate. Like, how there's those mutants or like mutant wannabes who are just like, I know I have powers, I just need them to activate. What happens if there are people out there that are like Darwin groupies and they're just shooting themselves up with adrenaline?
Now, I think that could be something that could come up in the future.
It could be
now,
good
especially
concept.
since when we're bringing out this concept, that is not going to be known. That's going to be something that would be a later storyline where they
Yes.
actually figure out, hey, it's actually adrenaline that truly triggers it. But that's not going to be known right off the bat.
Yeah.
But we could have some good ones with that, with
Yeah.
actually like possibly just people killing themselves because
Yeah.
maybe it manifests too fast and kills them.
Yeah,
or
accelerated.
they just continually try, and so they shoot themselves up with too much adrenaline, but they don't have the cell within their body, so they're just killing themselves. And so you start having like, the government trying to step in to stop, like the war on drugs, the war on adrenaline.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
What happens if? What about a horse tranquilizer? Is that like a
To counteract it.
So? Oh, hey, I meant to do this. There we go. So that's basically the concept is, you could manifest your powers during a math test, and it doesn't have to be in, like, your powers don't manifest given the situation you're in. So if you're stressed out during a math test, you don't get like super smart because you're stressing out. But
Yeah, it doesn't have to necessitate that need.
Yeah, like you could be at a math test and then all of a sudden your hand catches on fire and you're like, oh God, and you're burning. So it doesn't pertain to the situation you're in. So
Sometimes it does, though.
sometimes it does, and that's chaos.
Yeah.
That's what the chaos does. So we're still working out or workshopping some ideas to further this idea, but we got a concept. We got a few heroes. We also got two villains, I think.
Yep, at least.
So, but that's the concept. That's Darwin's.
So I really like this concept.
Thank you.
One of the biggest reasons I loved the X-Men is because there is an overarching story of like the X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also have like the individual stories. Like I've told you before, like my favorite is like Colossus and Omega Red. I freaking love Omega Red. So the fact that we could have either these joint collaborations or just single storylines within certain Darwins.
Yeah.
is exciting to me. So it doesn't have to just be like an Avengers type of situation where they're all joining up. You could have individual storylines.
Yeah, and honestly, like I want to make a Darwin alone team, kind of like how the X-Men have with the mutants. But I also like the idea of making the main superhero team, the Avengers or the Justice League team that we've started already, have a couple of members of Darwin's on the team. I wouldn't mind that. We would just have to kind of select a few and toss them in, kind of like Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, X or Wolverine are all members. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the reason that we're kind of deviating and going straight into Darwin's for a little bit, just to kind of give an overview of what we're thinking of without going into that second episode of what we had already started with like Trench and the Dealer, because we need to figure out, are any of them actually Darwins? Did they get their powers by a separate way? So we need to figure out those storylines before we go any further.
I've only had this concept for like a week now, I think, is when I thought of Darwin's.
Yeah.
And I just told you a day ago about it.
A day or two, yeah.
Yeah, and you drove me home, and by the time from your house to my house, you came up with a hero Darwin and a supervillain Darwin. So I was like, see, that's why I told you beforehand, so you can start thinking of stuff. And so yeah, I guess we'll just start with the heroes and then go into some of the villains and stuff.
Yeah, we'll at least just say a few that we've come up with.
So the first Darwin I came up with, and of course I don't have some of the details worked out in the sense of like alias, if it's a guy or girl.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these are all works in progress.
Yeah. So I guess if we wanted to, we could dive in and be like, yeah, I kind of feel like this is going to be a girl. Her name's Winifred or whatever. So, so my first one of the Darwins, member of whatever the team is going to be. By the way, I have a idea of what to name the Darwin X-Men team. Evolvers or Evolve. Again, work in progress. So this Darwin, I think I want this one to be a lady, by the way.
Okay.
But we'll get into that. They have the ability to slow down time and move quick, but only when danger is about to happen. Kind of like Superman's spider sense. Their abilities activate and they are able to move people.
I'm sorry, did you just say Superman's spider sense?
Spider-Man's spider sense.
I'm pretty sure you said Superman spider sense. Roll back that clip, please.
I don't think I did.
I only have
that clip.
I only have to bring that up because of the shit you gave me that one episode when I said Spider-Man and I meant Superman.
Listen, man, they share most of the letters, all right?
They have an S at the beginning and man at the end.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm just saying. So anyway, kind of like Spider-Man's spider sense.
Good job.
Or Spidey sense, if you will.
Or Daredevil.
Their abilities activate and they are able to move people out of the way or move the object. Possible superhero names is In Time is one of them. Or Split Second / Split. Like I figured like in a team setting when they have to go somewhere, they're like, let's go split. And so Split Second is the actual name, but Split is the more of the nickname of the nickname. Okay. Sorry, Brad. So this is the one that her abilities only activate in danger times, but she always has that ability afterwards. I don't have a backstory of why she has it. Maybe that's something we could have it. I think it should be a girl because I kind of like the concept. And so basically her powers is she's super fast, but she can't just like decide to, you know what, I'm hungry for a hamburger and then just zoom away to like McDonald's to grab a burger. It's only when danger appears. And it could be something as quick as a man starts to reach for his gun or is about to draw his gun, but once it happens, that's when boom, it just makes this like boom sound, and it just slows down, and she's able to do whatever she needs to do in it.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking a girl, a lady. Do you like In Time or Split Second or Split or something else? Slipstream. Do you have an alias for her?
No, I have no alias for her.
Amanda Needry.
That was a random one.
What can I say? I can do random names. I was actually thinking like Amy something. But then I thought of Amanda, and I was like, there's Amanda.
I mean, I like Amy better.
Amy? Okay. Amy. Valachek?
You're going very odd with these last names. I mean, I don't care. Does it really matter?
Amy Duggan.
Does it matter?
Amy Duggan. 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 Amy Duggan. Amy Duggan or Slipstream or In Time or whatever. What's your input? All right, Amy Duggan it is.
It's a little too soon to tell.
Okay, then we'll just go on to the next one. Do you like is there a name you like of the ones I gave In
No,
Time?
not really.
You don't like Split Second?
No. So the one thing I will say is I'm not a huge fan of naming them exactly what their power is.
Oh, really?
I am not a huge fan of that. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, like Captain America, I like that. But if we called him Mr. Shield, that would just piss me off.
Right.
You know, but there's so many like that. Like, a lot of them we're just used to, like Storm. Okay, we're used to that. But if I was to make somebody, I wouldn't just call them Storm just because they manipulate weather.
Right, but
I'm not huge. I don't know what it is. It's
so
like
let me
Mr. Fantastic is better than Mr. Stretch. You know, like
right. I agree.
So I'm not a huge, and we have a lot that their name is already exactly what they do, which is actually why, like, I really like the Dealer. That's why I was thinking, like, for one, we'll see if we talk about it later, but Shade, why I like his name, because it's not completely descriptive, but it's close to
right.
it. We have another one later on, and I kind of like the name we chose, but at the same time, it still hits that nerve for me, and I'm the one that chose the name. So
yeah, no, I get that.
So
get
it's just I'm apprehensive about it, but I don't really care too much. So
but, I mean, you
we'll
also got to
out.
think of there's so many like speedsters essentially. Flash, Quicksilver. There's literally just a guy named Speed.
Yeah, I know.
So like
Speedy Gonzalez.
But like Split Second is Split Second is yes, it's on the nose, but what else would you call her in the sense of her abilities only activate when it needs to activate?
I don't know. I'd have to look into more more time, more
like
synonyms, more
like
stuff
I get
that.
it, but I mean there's not a lot to have. Like, I agree with the Mr. Fantastic or like, say, the Thing. Like, he, Rock Boy probably wouldn't really work, or, but a lot of these, I mean, so there was a show I was watching, and there was a guy named Nick on there, and his superpower was he was able to freeze time, and he was coming up with names, and he was like, I was thinking, what about Nick and Time? and it's like yeah, it fits the profile. Like, you wouldn't call someone who can throw fireballs Mr. Freeze. So you kind of gotta like hit it on the nose, but not too much. But it's work on progress. But do you want to talk about yours?
Are we talking containment?
Yeah,
we can. So, yeah, one that I thought up on that ride home was containment. So, containment's power is more or less that he can, as the name suggests, contain people within areas. So he can use this to incapacitate people. So basically contain them into like a small like bubble area and then like shrink it down. So you start to eliminate the oxygen. And then once they run out of oxygen, they can pass out, which is why as a hero, it makes it a little bit better. So kind of like in the lines of like Superman, Batman, he's not actually killing them. He's actually found a way to like take them out without actually
unless he sneezes and then just
but he can also use his power to like help his teammates. Maybe there's an explosion happening and, you know, contain that within a bubble. Later on, him actually like manifesting his powers to actually like create a bubble around him and or like his teammates and use it as a bit of camouflage, actually.
You can't see me.
Yeah. So kind of like cloaking, kind of.
Yeah.
Think of like the Avengers, like the floating like battleships or whatever, where they engage and it kind of like just reflects and refracts light. That kind of a situation. When I was talking to you, brought up the idea of being able to change the mass within the bubbles themselves. So either heavier or lighter, which would allow him to actually move either teammates faster somewhere.
Yeah.
Contain when he's containing like an enemy, if he makes it heavy enough, it's just gonna like they can't move, even if they have like super like strength, anything like that. Or the ability to have like a heavy object and have it like within like the containment and like hit him like a bullet, basically.
Yeah.
So, the power to knock out people that way, and that would be something later on. His initial would be just being able to contain people themselves or himself at first.
It's almost like he has to come up with the idea or the concept to further evolve his abilities. So.
If nothing else, at least training. You know, just like any other superhero would. His backstory is a little bit more like mundane. So instead of like some massive traumatic incident, it would be him making out with his girlfriend for like the first time and him being so nervous, the adrenaline pumping, and he contains his girlfriend within a bubble. And he can't really get to her. He doesn't like understand what's happening. And then she starts to run out of oxygen. And so he quickly runs off to try to get help. And by him leaving the area and getting enough distance, the bubble dissipates and then she's able to get air. So, you know, he doesn't actually kill her. But that would be how his would manifest.
How old would you say he is? Like, are you thinking like 15, 16?
So I was thinking like 16-ish, 16,
turning
17, something around there.
Okay.
I would say though, the point of him actually in the storyline, early to mid 20s. So he takes some time to actually build up his powers. He doesn't like, oh, all right, now I'm a Darwin, woo, and like automatically gets onto the team. He's got to take some time to actually figure out his powers.
Just when his powers came to manifest.
Think of like Scott Summers when he first gets his powers to when he's actually able to become a part of the team.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Same page.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like he said, change the mass and stuff. I figured it would help with like going to like underwater stuff, make a bubble that can float down there and keep the water pressures and stuff, and or go up to space.
Yeah, if he had to save somebody like being sucked out into space, like from a spaceship or something.
Yeah. I don't even want to tell people my names for this. So.
I'll tell it. You came up with Bubble Butt. No.
I mean, also I came up with...
unless he's the size of the Blob, then sure.
I also came up with Catane and Bubbles, so...
Yeah, we're also going to have Buttercup, Blossom.
Mojo Jojo. Yeah, so I overall, like Brad nailed it when he said the name containment. I was like, I love it. It's such a great, like, it's, you think of what it is immediately.
Yeah. And like I said, this is the one, like, nail on the head, but at the same time, I'm like, it's just too close to the nail on the head. Like, I came up with the name and still I question it a bit.
So, like, thinking about it, it's like how you sell yourself, right?
Yeah, I get it. So I guess my question on this is, and I'm not saying it's a great example, but like, I don't need somebody that's like Captain Strong or whatever else.
Yeah.
When you have somebody named Hancock. Like, I actually love the fact that, like, in that movie, he just goes by Hancock. So I think that's where I'm more getting at. I don't want, like, there's a lot of X-Men that go by this too, like Professor X. Some of my favorites don't quite go exactly by what their name is.
Yeah.
Or
like
they're
Nightcrawler.
a variant enough. Yeah, I love Nightcrawler.
Colossus.
And it's not exactly the same as
Yeah,
like exactly what their power is, and I like that just a little bit more because it's a little bit more like enigmatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just personal preference. I don't really care, and it might be good to have a good mixture of both.
Yeah. I mean, that's what. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. There's really nothing more.
There really isn't.
So
it's all personal preference. It sucks.
So the one I came up with like last night, I was going to bed, thought of this idea, and then I was like, okay, I just need to remember when I wake up that I need to type this down. So I actually wrote it down this morning, and so I haven't told you this one, but I actually really like the concept of this guy. So also Darwin, I'm already saying he's a dude. His powers activated when a drive-by shooter took aim at him and his best friend. He held his arms up, but stayed in place out of fear. So he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Hailstorm. After the shots rain out, he lowered his arms to see that the rounds that hit him were compressed and fell to the ground in front of him. So he's bulletproof. His friend wasn't so lucky. His abilities are, his skin is impenetrable, but it varies. If he's standing still, then nothing can hurt him at all. But the more he moves, the more vulnerable he can get. A slow walk is still bulletproof, but a missile could do some damage. If he's at a full sprint, that's when he's at his weakest. When he's at a slow walk, his skin can repel in a way. If he walks into a car, it can send the car away like it just got T-boned. So essentially, I'm thinking like this guy walks like the Terminator. Like he's still like, getting bullets shot at him. Like he's still durable. And when he's like, if he walks through a car, he basically just by lifting his leg, just kicks it like a soccer ball kick kind of way and just sends the car flying. But
so he technically kind of has like super strength.
Yeah, like he's
because that was actually going to be my question, because you were like, if a car hits him, it's like they got hit by a T-bone. Where my question would be, does inertia still not hurt him?
Yeah, no, inertia.
Because that, I don't know. It's good and bad. It's good and bad.
It could be worked out, but that's just the general concept. Is he's more of a standstill powerhouse. He is strong. I kind of think of Luke Cage in a way, but giving him more of a weakness. Mm-hmm. The names I have, and I gotta tell you, I really like these names. Two of them in particular. Power Skin, Diamond, Re-Up, Bulletproof, Titanium, and Platinum.
All right, Bulletproof's the best one there.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like Re-Up?
No. God, no.
What about Power Skin?
No.
So that was pretty much the idea of it.
Okay.
So if he's standing still when he fucking like someone throws a punch at him, fucking just break their hand.
See, and that's my question. Like, if a train, like if he's standing on a train track, does like he full on like Hancock that bad boy and everything goes off to the side and he doesn't move at all? That's where my thought on inertia happens, because that's going to make him nigh impossible to defeat by any bad guy if he's just like, I'll just lay here. Like there's nothing that you can do. Like you can't even have a superhero pick you up at that point, or like a supervillain. You wouldn't even be able to pick this bad boy up if nothing moves him, like even a train.
Right. But so basically what I'm thinking is if he's just standing still, nothing can hurt him. But if say he moves his arm, the rest of his body is good. It's his arm that becomes weak at that point. So like if he cocks back to throw a punch, whatever is moving is where like he starts to get weak in those spots.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I'm just saying at that point you would just stand still though.
Yeah, but it's not like you can really do. Oh no, the bad guys are just running away.
Are you kidding me? Just have somebody build him like a hover frickin' thing and just have him just like run around on like some hover thing where he's not actually moving, he's standing still, but his platform's moving. Like this is the easiest way to make like the ultimate human shield.
You know what? I just thought because you were like, oh, well, just do that.
Fucking Green Goblin this bitch.
I was thinking of like what happens if like you push him out of like an AC 130 and he's just dropping like this, like he didn't physically move, so does he stay like this? Man,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm saying, does inertia not hurt you? By the way, he couldn't ever be pushed out of a plane.
Why not?
Because if a train can't move him, somebody behind him can't push him.
Then how can a hoverboard move him?
Because he's literally standing on it. Are you saying an escalator also can't move him? Can he worthy? I'm sorry. Can the elevator not move him that picked up the hammer? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Like, but you see, this is my problem with the whole inertia thing. This is why I'm okay with him being invulnerable, but I feel like the train should still move him. Like, if you get hit by a train, like from behind, like you're just walking on train tracks, you just stop to tie your shoe, and a train comes up and hits you from behind, I feel like it should knock you a mile ahead on the train tracks. But that train is destroyed now. Like, I feel like it should do both.
I mean, it could do both. I'm fine with that. You know,
like you can take a stance where you're like more going to be able to brace yourself to handle some of it, like especially like a hard punch or something like that.
Yeah, but if
if a train if something from space hits you, like a fucking asteroid, if he's standing still, it's not going to kill him, but it's still going to drag him in the ground freaking 1,000 meters. Like that's my thought with the whole inertia thing.
I just came up with another superhero name. What about Statue? That was it.
Yeah.
So kind of the thought of how I kind of came up with it, other than I was just going to bed, but after I thought of it, I thought of the item you can get in Binding of Isaac, the Tanuki leaf, that if you just stand still, you just turn to stone and you're fine from all attacks.
Of course, that's what you thought of.
Well, it's not like that led into that, but it was just like that's kind of like that item from Binding of Isaac. So yeah. That's my Darwin person.
I do actually like him though.
Yeah, thank you. I like his backstory really. Like the fact that it's one of those abilities that activates and it's what he needs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh God.
Like his actually is what he needs compared to like containment, where you absolutely do not want that power at that moment.
Yeah.
You're not trying to have you don't want your own power to cock block you.
Yeah. Yeah, like Rogue. But yeah, so that's and I was thinking like the concept of his friend also getting shot gives him that motivation to become a superhero. And I didn't want to do like, oh, his brother, his cousin. Like I just figured just best friend. They were hanging out, playing, shooting some hoops. I'm thinking I kind of like the idea of him to be African American. He's an African American man. He's not any kind of gang stuff. He just was wrong place, wrong time. It was. Like I'm even thinking
grows up in a poor neighborhood. Gotcha.
Yeah, I was even thinking like maybe it was even like the drive-by shooting wasn't random, but they shot up the wrong person. And so, like, even more going into his backstory, like when he goes to face the shooters, they're like, "Oh, I thought we killed blah blah blah," and it's like,
Well,
no.
honestly, they could just be going for the house next to him, basically. But you
Yeah.
know, a drive-by is going to hit multiple houses, so
Right,
could be
spray and
that type
pray.
of thing. Yeah.
So I like this concept. So your next one, I guess.
Of an actual hero.
Yeah.
So I came in and I asked you a question.
Yes.
Which was,
We're
I need
gonna-
some kind of childhood trauma.
By the way, this is the second time I've gone for my Gatorade and then stopped because I had to talk. Yeah, you asked me.
It's my turn. My turn to drink. Yeah, don't worry. We're good.
You asked me that you needed a childhood trauma, and I said, "Well, how bad?" And you were like, "Just something simple." And I was like, "Okay, a car ran over your leg," and I was just thinking like a child got ran over, and he's like, a little less
Maiming.
yeah. And so I was like, okay, fucking abusive dad. And you're like, that might work. And I was like, that's a bit cliche though. And he goes, yeah, but it would still work. And I was like, how about like a
Babysitter.
a babysitter, a violent baby.
So, by the way, it doesn't even have to be violent. Like, I was thinking about it, like, even like being lost in a store would technically work. So,
What about loss in the forest of a camping trip?
see, and I don't know. So, let me give you a kind of my thought process here
Okay.
on the power. So, this is
My
a
turn.
very unique power. Compared to what you would like normally think of, like flight or super speed or anything like this.
Or hulking out.
yeah,
Or money.
it doesn't have to be a she, it could be either. They make children's games real. The floor is lava. You see where I'm going with this? Like, just randomize stuff like that, you know? That's and this is why I want it to be like a child that actually gets the powers manifest.
So it's a like on the superhero team, it's a child.
So
Or
my thought process for this would be like an individual story where, you know, you maybe follow just this story of this Darwin for a little bit. And then maybe years later they would join the team.
Okay.
This is not like but when it manifests the powers, no, it's absolutely a child. And that's the first couple storylines will literally just be it as a child.
Because what I was thinking was what happens if she's trying to still capture their like childhood wonder. Get out of here. You just drank.
Go lay down.
Gross.
You can't fit in here, you dummy.
But like, what happens if she's still trying to hold on to her childhood, and so when she gets older, like that's like her whole ability still like consists. But damn, that's a very specific and interesting ability.
Yeah.
Floor is lava. I'm thinking like mousetrap to like capture.
Yeah, so
Bad
I thought
guys.
of
But
Mousetrap too.
goddamn,
but
it would-
just very random, but yeah, like children's games.
What about like also a little bit of like precognition? Like she can kind of see the future. So essentially what I'm thinking is like if she set up this whole mousetrap thing and like a bad guy's like freaking out about everything, and because the whole purpose is you need to get him on the X, and then boom, a cage comes down, she could predict where he's going to be, where that cage is going to fall down. What about like precognition?
I don't quite like that as much as just if you're going to make Mousetrap, you just make some elaborate thing and you're literally just going to have it like lead into like hallways. It's going to lead it to the X.
Dude.
That makes a lot more sense.
Dude.
Where you're just going to lead it to the X.
Shoots and ladders, she would be the ultimate fireman.
But yeah, no. So the game is the thought is like children's games come real for this person.
So how about this? Hear me out, and then we'll see where it goes. Abusive babysitter. And one day she couldn't take it anymore. I don't know why I keep calling her a she. You called her a she, and
I know. I put the thought in your head.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So, abusive babysitter didn't go too far, but they had enough, and so they ran away. They ran to the forest, and they like backyard. There's a tree clearing, okay, and she just runs out there, and she kind of has like this whole where the wild things are kind of thing. Like she hallucinates and boom, her powers manifest, and she's not hallucinating. She actually just made like Candyland. What do you think? Think that works for your concept?
I mean, in general, but I don't think she needs to have the whole hallucination type thing.
Well, it's not hallucination.
I gotcha.
But or maybe she's like, what about this? Like she's like in the forest. I keep calling her a she. At this point,
it's a she. At this point, it's a she.
What about she's like knees to chest, crying, head down, and she thinks of a memory of.
See, and that I would rather like. Like she's just like, I want my teddy. I want my teddy. Like thinking of her stuffed animal, and then she thinks of a time where she was like doing like
playing Candyland with her like teddy bears around the thing, and then boom, Candyland. Go ahead.
Yes, but not Candyland.
Well, yeah, whatever it could be.
But
Parcheesi.
Chinese checkers.
How far can this go? Like could she make chess and make like chess pieces do her bidding in a sense, like a horse, the knight, kind of like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Like, could she make chess pieces and have them do her bidding, like the pawns and stuff?
I mean, maybe later on, but my thought process is more games that involve more the mind, like the floor is lava, stuff like that. More like just children games that like younger children will play.
Oh boy, Foursquare.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
bomb.
Of. Yeah,
where she could just fucking, just
exactly that type of a situation. Now later on, what if she starts to like as she gets an adult? What if she learns like better games, like that are imaginative, like D&D?
Ooh.
So you can expand it later on, but when she first gets the power, she's young, so she only knows children games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could get behind this. Like what about like 7-Up? Or sorry, that's not the one I wanted to go with. It was Hot Potato. She could even like imaginary like throw a hot potato at an enemy, they catch it, and their hands start burning.
Any of that. She could start to sing Ring Around the Rosie, start to like spin around, and we all fall down, and they have to fall. Like no matter what, they have to fall. Because it's her game. She controls the game.
Don't break mama's dishes. I don't want to play with her.
Yeah. Where she's in a store or on the sidewalk, and she's singing that song and jumping, or you'll break mother's back if you step on a crack. Like real like stuff like that.
But she changes the words to babysitter. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
But that's kind of the thought process on
All
this.
right.
Is children games become real for her.
So I was going more board games. You're going for more of like games you come up with when you're like by yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So gotcha. Floor is lava. When you're on a playground, you're like,
yeah,
don't touch the bark. The floor is lava.
Yeah, that type of stuff. That's kind of where my mind was going. I'm not saying it can't manifest to maybe board games, because I think like a whole mousetrap thing would be awesome.
Yeah.
To come up with, and maybe it is something she can play around with. Maybe it's something she can't do as well.
Because like I'm thinking burning building, and she just makes chutes and ladders up here, and so people are just sliding down from a burning building or climbing down a ladder. But
they wouldn't be able to climb down a ladder. It goes against the rules of the game.
Ooh, that's another thing. Does it have to go?
Yes, it has to follow the rules of the game.
Concept of the game.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you see where, like, so it can hurt her too, depending on what it is, but that's kind of my concept with it. And that's where I'm just like, I don't know the backstory for it, and I don't know how traumatic the incident has to be. I don't feel like it has to be traumatic. Obviously, I don't want her ran over. And at this point, we have turned it to a her. Like, flat out, it's a her. We've said it enough.
I think it fits the abilities better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the story. Like, and it doesn't have to be like a full on abusive babysitter, like beating the shit out. It could just be like you're worthless, verbal, mental abuse. I like that a little bit better, and she just can't take it anymore. She runs to the forest, and she's thinking of a happy memory of fucking. I don't know. She just thinks of a memory, and then like Flora's Lava, playing Flora's Lava around her teddy bear or whatever, or with her dad or mom. And
either that or she starts to just play a game out in the forest by herself, and that's when it starts to come real.
Well, so, I was thinking she's on a rock crying, and then when she looks up, the floor around her is lava.
Yeah.
So something will work.
But yeah, no, I'd like to see two storylines come up, like when we come up with this, which would be the first one, just her powers manifesting and just the different ways, kind of like just a background story.
Yeah, I like it.
And then the second one, somebody trying to capture her, just a bad guy trying to capture her. Like, we could use this power, and she's a child, so we'd be able to manipulate. And then all she's doing is playing games with the bad guy.
I like it.
Like, that's how she keeps getting away, is just playing games.
Yeah.
So it's not like part of a team or anything like that. Just an individual story.
Yeah. No, I like it.
I think it would be interesting. But yeah, that's my second Darwin that I was thinking of was somebody that can make children's games become real.
Damn, you're good at this. Do you have a name?
I don't.
What about Child's Play? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just
Is that
Chucky?
too on the news?
Chucky?
If we could call her Chucky, I would not mind that. Should be redheaded too. I don't care. Yeah. No, that's good. I like that. Do you want to go into your Lance one?
Oh. So I almost want this just to be a passion project for us. Just this character alone. He doesn't even need to be like a mainstay. This can literally be our MacGuffin. This can be our Deus Ex Machina. Whenever we need it, this can be it. So I don't know if people realize this, but there was a point in time when we were thinking about like different movies and like actors, and there was one that we couldn't remember his name for the life of us. And it was for a little while. Like, we just couldn't. And every time we're like, oh yeah, that's it. So we got to the point where we both were just like, we're going to memorize this forever. Like, we can have full on dementia, not even remember like our kids or whatever else. We're going to remember this name. Yep. Like, we've engraved it in our heads.
It's a badass name.
And it's Lance Reddick.
Lance motherfucking Reddick.
Lance motherfucking Reddick.
Might be related to Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson, by the way, is actually Samuel Lance Jackson. Not a lot of people know that.
But we love Lance Reddick. He's great in a lot of movies, stuff like that. So we constantly will make reference to Lance Reddick. Like, even if there's like a movie and it's just like, oh, and then Lance Reddick will come in and like save the day.
Yeah. Like one of the greatest things is you don't expect Lance Reddick just to show up, but we could be watching a movie and then all of a sudden we're just like,
oh my God,
is that Lance Reddick?
That's Lance Reddick.
And so, like, currently I'm watching The Wire, and Lance Reddick's in it, and he is, thankfully, I just finished the 3rd season, and there's 2 more seasons left. So far, he's been in all 3 seasons, so thank God. But before I watched that, I watched Oz, which, again, he just randomly shows up, and I'm just like, motherfucking Lance Reddick, I like it.
Yeah.
I texted Brad, was like, dude, fucking watching Oz, Lance Reddick.
Yeah. My favorite show is Fringe, and he's in that. He's the freaking commander in that. We love the John Wicks. He's in the John Wick movies. I mean, he's a great actor too.
Yeah. great actor. I hear he's a nice guy. Don't actually know, but that's what I hear.
I mean, eventually we'll have to meet him because we'll make him a character.
Yeah, we're casting
We'll
him
make
in-
him.
in-
Lance Reddick's got to play Lance Reddick.
Yeah, we're casting him in the BFCU.
But the thought process was to make somebody that was basically named after like Lance Reddick. Like his name would be like the Lance or, Lance. And he can basically make energy projectiles like a lance that he would be able to either throw, handle, whatever else.
Is that too on the nose?
I'm okay with this one being fully on the nose.
Because when you were telling me this, I was just waiting for the punchline, really, because I knew where you were going with it. Go ahead with the name.
So I even wanted to like pun his name where number one, we keep it kind of like a Scott Summers or a Peter Parker, you got the double P's or the double S's. And so I was thinking like the double R's, and it was almost like Rick Redmond or something like that. So it like you take Reddick and you just like split the name and just put one to the first and one to the last name. So it's not completely obvious. You're not just like Lance Reddick is who it is, but obviously that's who it's modeled after.
He's modeled. It's almost like Nick Fury in the Ultimate universe of Marvel. They made Nick Fury look like Samuel L. Jackson, and look at him now casted as Nick Fury.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a passion project for me. Like I'd love to see Lance Reddick in the BFU.
Yep. Yeah. The BFU or the BFCU
Eventually, because we'll need him to play his part.
Yep. So his powers, you said, basically projectiles.
Yeah.
And that he can just concept into his hand. And you originally came up with the idea before I came up with Darwins.
Yeah.
And on our drive here, I was like, so you're going to make Lance Reddick a Darwin, right?
Absolutely.
And you were like, absolutely. And I was like, cool. He's on the team. Honestly, leader of the team.
Yeah.
Done deal.
If he's not a leader, he's got to be like the Maverick. But like I said, like if you need somebody in a pinch,
He's
like
the Wolverine.
He just like flies in on his jet and then just freaking like jumps down and just throws his lance and just destroys shit.
So let me ask you this: do you think he could fly? Because I was thinking like thinking lances, right? Like I'm thinking medieval time, horseback riding. Should we give him a flying Pegasus? Also, do you need flying when you're describing a Pegasus? Isn't just a Pegasus a fly? Like, am I being redundant?
Yes, you are being
Okay.
redundant.
Yeah.
Should we give him a Pegasus?
Should we give him a Pegasus high? That's why I live for it, ladies and gentlemen.
I hate you right now.
Yeah.
No, but what if we give him a jet and on the side that's what's printed as Pegasus?
Done deal. I was also thinking of making him super rich, by the way.
Oh, I'm fine
and
with that.
making his company called Pegasus.
I'm fine with that.
Boom. So, cool. Lance Reddick. We got your number. Call us. We don't have your number.
God.
Is there any other abilities he can do? Do you also have a backstory for him?
I don't have a backstory for him right now.
Here's a backstory. He was once a Hollywood actor, and he gained the abilities because he listened to our podcast, and he just gained them from there.
He's like fourth wall breaking too.
Yeah. He's just like, these motherfuckers.
They know what's up.
They know what's up. I don't think he talks like that.
No. I don't
No,
think so
he's way more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Fucking love Lance Reddick. It was honestly like I'm pretty sure we watched like 2 movies back to back with him in it. I think we watched like John Wick 3, and then we watched another movie, and we were just like, I know his name. I can't think of his name. What is his name? And then the credits come up, and I was like, Lance fucking Reddick, yeah. And then we're just like going through the second movie, and we're like, okay, it's something with a L, I think.
Yeah.
Lionel.
I can't remember what the last movie it was that we were watching, but like he randomly showed up and we're like, fucking Lance Reddick's in it.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, we've made it a mission. We've done really well with just like we've even played Destiny and he voices Savala. And
Yeah.
we're just like fucking Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
Like there was even times where Savala would be talking to us and I would be like, "Thanks, Lance," and just leave. Oh God, Lance Reddick, hear us out.
Yeah.
Do you have any more Darwins?
Not, I think, in the hero aspect, unless you do.
Nope. I say let's just move on to our two villains and then we'll
Yeah,
end
the
it.
thought process is villains on these right now. We don't know if it would maybe change. Are they going to stay good? Are they going to be like a Magneto type of character? Like they're bad, but they're technically like they
have
feel like
good
they have their
intentions.
good intentions and stuff. Yeah. So don't quite know yet. It's just thought process. Like we said, most of this is all just rough drafts.
Yeah. If you guys have ideas for Darwins, let us know and we'll do an episode of what you guys think some of the Darwins should be. So when I came up with Darwins, I came up with one superhero and one supervillain.
Yeah.
I don't know why I threw up two. You hold up one, I hold up one. There you go. Because I'm the hero, you're the villain. Because you held up two, you bastard.
Well, you dropped your one, so I had to bring it back up.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You're always helping.
Keeping it consistent.
So let's see. So one of the Darwins, they idolized superheroes until a superhero landed and crashed through their apartment building, killing their sister and father. That's when their powers activated as they ran in to try to save their family. They can move stuff with their mind and gain the abilities to switch powers between people or to combine powers together for a short amount of time without concentration, but can hold it for longer with concentration. But no matter what, the powers switch back eventually. So the idea is essentially he could obviously move stuff with his mind, but if he is fighting with other supervillains, he can take two of the supervillain's powers, put it into one, make that supervillain way stronger to attack the heroes. Or it's also an offensive move where he could switch the powers of two of the superheroes. Let me take that again. He can switch the powers of two of the superheroes, and which leaves them kind of handicapped in a way where like they're so used to their
They don't know how to use the other power.
They don't know how to really work with other abilities, or he merges two of the abilities into one person, leaving the other one powerless for a little bit. So it's just a fun little concept. I don't see him being like a main bad guy, like a constant,
More of a supporter.
Yeah, I don't see him as a constant like Magneto type, but
Yeah.
definitely, I guess I wouldn't even say like a support character like Sabretooth, but like he's almost like the Mystique, like kind of held back.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
like he's not like full on frontline guy. He's
Yeah, but he's powerful. Like
Yeah.
he's insanely powerful. Because I mean, honestly, we could probably make it later on that it takes a lot of willpower, but he could essentially like move all of the abilities into one person, or more than just two, kind of thing. Or maybe he could just swap.
if he moves a
everyone.
power, does it just strengthen? Like, can he just strengthen one guy without having to combine powers? Because that might screw over somebody too.
On the villain side.
Yeah. Like if he just wants to strengthen up a teammate, does he have to take the other power away, or can he
Like,
just
he
like
could-
artificially bump it up?
Like he could take away like 50% of someone's power.
Yeah.
So, it would be something.
So I
we
guess
would
my
work
question
with.
is, if you steal the power from somebody else, like to combine it, does that person gain the other person's powers, or does it just bump up their innate powers?
Oh, so you're saying like someone with fire, and they're just doing a simple stream of fire. It doesn't turn into a huge like inferno. If he adds someone else's, is that what you're saying? Like
So-
boosting.
I kind of do. So like, we'll just go into the concept of Like if this guy was in the actual like X-Men, and he was like helping out Magneto. If he steals somebody's power and gives it to Magneto, does Magneto actually gain that other person's power, or does Magneto now have the power where he can like easily lift up that asteroid to make like the second home?
Gotcha.
Does it boost his power, or does he gain the other person's power?
If we wanted to make it both, like again, like further down the line, his powers kind of evolve. The general idea of when I originally thought of it was that they get the person's power. So, so essentially, like Nightcrawler and Colossus, if he moved Nightcrawler's ability into Colossus,
that's a wrecking team right there.
Yeah, Colossus can not only can he armor up,
talk about a cannonball,
but he can teleport. or if he added Sabretooth's powers, you know, healing and stuff, into Magneto, then Magneto can also heal. So,
okay,
that's the general idea. But I don't mind the whole like more of a boosting effect. And if he could take like 50% of someone else's power, like again Sabretooth or Wolverine.
So I guess my question with this was mainly like, this is something we can work out later. Like, how much would he even like handicap his own team? Like, if you're not used to using a firepower because you're whatever, are you going to be able to absolutely use it? Because if he can switch superheroes to do that, wouldn't it also kind of have that same confounding like effect to his like team? Unless he let them practice with it, and then that would kind of help out. But
that's what I was thinking, was they could practice, but also like there's a lot more of like hey, you're prepared for this, than generally of the fact of, you know, seeing two superheroes and just going
yeah,
and then flipping them, where you could just be like, yo, Magneto, you ready? Yo, Mysterio, or not Mysterio, Mystique, you ready? I don't know why this would matter.
No, I absolutely want Magneto and Rey Mysterio to start playing powers.
Their mask and helmet designs are pretty close. Yeah, pretty fucking sweet. But yeah, so I would.
That was mainly my reasoning.
I don't mind the concept of boosting the power, and I also don't mind the concept of taking like 50% of someone's power, essentially.
Yeah, it was the only reason I asked.
It's not bad. So, okay. but yeah, so potential names. You know what's funny? Because I watched like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Was one of the bad guys in it is called the Power Broker, and I was like, God damn it, Marvel, that would have been such a cool name for this guy. But so I didn't name him that. His possible names, I named him Switcheroo.
I hate that one.
I know you do. Swap, Swapper, Switchover, Switchwave, and Rearrange. I really like Switchover and Rearrange.
Okay.
So
those are the two better ones out of those.
a little bit of Switcheroo. I don't know why I did Adam Sandler there.
I don't know either.
Your turn. Go for it.
So, the one I thought of, he gains his powers, for the most part, off of...
He's a Darwin.
He is a Darwin. He gets his power mainly from... Like, he's in the middle of, like, a bank robbery. That's kind of the thought process I had. But it has to be some kind of, like, crime in action, is my thought. And a security guard or somebody is about to get shot. Doesn't have to be a security guard. I guess it could be a civilian, anybody like that, but he goes to try to intervene to save them.
So we should probably preference this. He's not actually robbing the bank. He's inside the bank.
Yeah, no, he's like a civilian.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just trying to get his $20 out. That's all he's doing. He's just trying to get his money, man. Don't bring the working man down.
$20.
He just wants lunch, man.
Who goes to the bank just to pull out $20?
Well, if the frickin' stupid bank would have an ATM outside, he wouldn't have to go inside. Jeez.
Just keep going.
But basically, he comes in this middle of this robbery that's happening, and they go to shoot.
By the way, I forgot that I changed his backstory.
I hate you.
When I typed it, they don't shoot him, is what I thought.
No, they're not shooting him. They're shooting somebody else.
No, they're shooting the security guard. That's who I'm talking about.
Or civilian.
Or whatever. But instead, they just shove him, and the guy that we're talking about, the Darwin, catches him.
No, I think it needs to be a shot.
Okay.
I think it needs to be a shot.
Well, okay, go ahead. I'll give you my reason why I don't think it should be shot. But
You're wrong.
like, is it a fatal blow?
Yeah, it's meant to be fatal. That's why he has to jump in there.
Okay, go ahead.
What would you care if somebody was just getting shoved?
Well,
That's not a big enough reason for you to actually intervene.
well, so I'm thinking of not necessarily most heist movies, but the security guards are old fat men.
not all security guards are that way.
Well, this one could probably just fit the cliche. But basically what I'm saying is, because I know his power set is if the security guard gets shot and dies or falls over, you're losing the concept of him.
You know what? Fine. It's a guy with a concealed gun, and he goes to try to stop him.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Does he still get shot?
Yes, the guy is getting shot because the robbers are going to shoot him.
Okay.
Anyways,
Go ahead.
he goes to like stop him, to intervene, to stop him like from getting shot. So he kind of like goes and pushes him out of the way, but his powers manifest and he kills him because his power is almost like a death touch. The killing of that one person freaks him out enough that he starts to emanate like an aura around him, and it is literally a death aura. Anything it touches can start to like either suffocate or something. I haven't exactly worked out the details, but the thought process is some kind of death aura that starts to kill people, and he does mass damage in this area. He doesn't mean to. He does not want to be a bad guy, but the reason he's pushed into it is because the security footage shows one of like the robbers, because they are far enough away, they don't, or one of them comes out of the vault or something, they didn't get affected, they come out and they're all, hey man, thanks for the help,
Yeah.
like pat him on the back, and then they leave. So this guy is thought to be part of this crime syndicate, and he absolutely is not, and no one will listen to him, including the superheroes that take him down. So he just becomes super jaded into just hating them because they don't truly want justice. They just want fame.
You remind me of another change I made in this guy's backstory when
I
wrote
hate
it
you just
down.
randomly changing stuff without me.
Well, because you knew how it would go, but when I was typing it, I feel like I should just read my description I have. A man that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was in a bank when robbers came in. One of the robbers pushed a security guard, and the Darwin caught him. His powers activated right then and there. His touch killed the pushed man. He realized what he's done. He starts to panic, and as he's panicking, a dark aurora is emancing from his from his body and spreading through the bank, killing people, or maybe putting people in comas, or people in some kind of coma. The remaining robbers leave, thanking the guy that downed everyone in the bank. The tape gets released, but a producer of a news network cuts the footage to make it look like he's a bad guy, which turns him into a villain on the run, eventually able to learn to control the aurora that comes out of his body. Storyline potential is he gets captured and gets flipped to the goodish side as a member of a Black Ops team that does dirty work. That was another thing I forgot was essentially like...
Yeah, you turned him good. Or anti-hero, at least.
Well, no, not even the anti-hero, but the concept of just the security footage, right? Because I'm thinking of like releasing the security footage, they'll see that he is like he tried to help.
Oh, but we know our media nowadays. I automatically expected that bitch to be doctored.
Right, so that's why I was like, oh, we'll get a producer who edited the tape and made it look like he was he was part of it even more so, where it wasn't getting rid of. He got rid of the good parts of what he actually tried to do, and makes him have a vengeance against that producer. And so it's one of those things that like he doesn't want to be a bad guy, but society turns him into a bad guy, and so he's just like, all right, time to be a bad guy, and I'm gonna go kill the guy who fucking ruined my life, which is the producer. Much. So that's some of the things I changed. But honestly, like, I like your concept. So I mean, it was just thoughts I had when I was typing it down at like midnight. I was like,
I think it can have a little bit of both, but yeah, I think it needs to be death, and I think there needs to be a little bit higher stakes. So I think they need to actually shoot the security guard, not just push him.
Yeah, and so
there isn't a reason to honestly intervene unless he's actually going to take bodily injury.
So the whole reason why I was hesitant on the whole shooting was I'm thinking of how it plays out, right? Is the robber points the gun at the security guard, and you said the Darwin pushes him, right? Where does the bullet go? Does it hit the Darwin, or is it a missed shot?
It's a missed shot.
Does it hit?
It's a missed shot.
Does it hit the security guard? Because that's why I was asking.
No, he sees him basically like raising the gun up like he's going to shoot him, and that's when he just runs and like goes to push him out of the way. And even at that point, you don't even need it doctored that much. At that point, what they can show is the security image. Like, it doesn't show the guy that was shooting like in the frame.
Yeah.
And so it only shows him literally jumping towards him, knocking him to the ground, and then him killing him.
Yeah.
That's literally all it shows.
Right.
Is him coming out of frame, into frame, and killing the man.
Yeah, which is fine. I just, in my head when you were explaining it, that's what I thought. And that's why, I thought the security guard got shot.
No.
And then he, caught
my thought
him.
Was missed.
And that's why I was like,
missed shot.
Is the shot a killing shot? Because at that point, it doesn't matter that he touched the guy and he died if it was a fatal shot anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Missed shot.
Okay.
He went to save him, and he would have if he didn't manifest powers at the same exact moment to destroy.
He did a good deed, but he drew the short straw. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. There we go. That's what we got it.
That's so far what we got. I think it's a good starting point, honestly. I think it can lead in a bunch of different areas. I think some are going to be very amusing. Some of them could actually have deep storylines. Honestly, I'm most excited for the Child's Play one. I'm not going to lie.
I like the
because
name.
I think it's amazing, like, concept.
I like the concept of her being like a little child, but part of this enormous team, and they're just like I just picture a huge buffed out guy just going, "What are you gonna do?" And then all of a sudden the floor is lava around him, and he's like, "Oh God, I can't move!" And then a mousetrap comes and captures him, and it's just like that. Boom. That's what you do.
I mean, what if they're like having like some kind of war? Like it's later on, like there's some kind of major battle, and it's in her hometown, and she's like at a park, and that's how she gets drawn into like the team.
We could do it.
Like they go to like hurt civilians, and she's one of the civilians, and she's like, "You want to play a game?"
Yeah, or like someone punches someone and it sends them flying in the air, and then the bad guy lands in her backyard, and he gets up, and she's just like, "You want to play tea?
Yeah.
You want to do a tea party?"
I mean, literally, he could just come up after like one of her friends or something like that, and like to like kill him, and just be like, "Stay back, or I'm gonna kill this kid." And then she's like, you hear like this little voice go, "Hey, mister," and he like turns around, and she's like, "I'd move, the floor's lava," and she jumps on the slide.
Yeah. That would be pretty sweet, man. Be pretty sweet. So
yeah.
So yeah, we have a basis. I'm literally coming up with a new superhero every like 3 days. So between,
I mean, yeah, you brought it up only a day or two ago.
Yeah.
And I've already brought up like 3. So yeah.
3 plus your Lance Reddick one. Yeah, but that was before Darwin.
I mean, Lance Reddick's probably going to be a mainstay in like our with fucking the dealer, man. He's just gonna make like random appearances. Yeah,
we're actually gonna just cast Lance Reddick as every part. I can't wait to see him as Child's Play. Hey, mister, floor's lava. So, all right. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on or subscribe to YouTube. Best Friends Discuss. Buy our merch at.
teespring.com/store/bestfriendsdiscuss. Actually.
Isn't it just Spring now?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is spring.com. They keep switching it.
Yeah. And go listen to our sister podcast, Dane and Friends. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. They post some gameplay stuff. And yeah. The BFU is happening. We're doing it. This has been an idea for since last year, I feel like since like November.
I mean,
of last year.
honestly, if we want to like get technical, it's probably been an idea since the start of this podcast, since we came up with this, with literally trying to decide what we wanted with like
Fantastic Four.
and
Jinx, you owe me a soda. Danny DeVito as Mole Man.
no,
High five me.
no.
Okay. So, all right. Bye, guys. Let us know about Darwin stuff. Subscribe.
Yeah.